Chapter 1. The Auction. The air was thick with the scent of sweat, steel, and desperation. On the desert fringes of the interstellar trade city of Varnak, hundreds gathered in the slave bazaar where alien war captives were paraded like livestock. Shackled, bruised, and humiliated, once mighty warriors were reduced to commodities under the twin suns. Among them stood Rava of Zenthra, a towering Amazonian warrior whose once vibrant obsidian armor had been stripped away, replaced by ragged chains and silence. She was the last of her battalion, the infamous thunder-clad Valkyries, known across the quadrants for their ferocity. But now, she was just lot number 789. They say she took down a cruiser with her bare hands, the auctioneer boasted. Zenthran bred, battle-tempered, still strong. Starting bid, 800 credits. Crowd murmurs rippled, but most were wary. Rava had crushed the last two buyers who dared to mistreat her. At the edge of the crowd stood an Earthling, Eli Grant. Not a soldier or a smuggler. Just a mechanic from the Mars outpost. He didn't belong here, in a market of cruelty and chains. But something in Rava's eyes, defiant even in defeat, called to him. 1,000 credits, Eli said, raising his hand. The crowd fell silent. Going once, twice. Sold. And just like that, a human owned the fiercest Amazon warrior in the quadrant. Chapter 2. The Rust Bucket and the Warrior. The journey back to his ship, the Rust Bucket, was silent. Rava didn't struggle. She didn't speak. Her wrists were still bound in glowing plasma cuffs. Eli keyed in the door lock and led her inside. The ship was small but functional. Tools, wires, and spare parts cluttered every surface. "You're free to move around," he said, disabling her cuffs with a scanner. "I didn't buy you to use you. I bought you so you wouldn't end up in some warlord's dungeon." She studied him with narrowed eyes. "What do you want in return?" "Nothing," he said, offering a protein bar. "Eat something. You're safe here." Rava didn't trust him, not yet, but hunger won the battle. She ate silently, eyes always watching. Waiting. Over the next few days, Eli gave her space. He repaired ship parts, tuned engine coils, and sometimes chatted to himself while she sat quietly, sharpening a piece of scrap metal into a blade, more for comfort than threat. But one night, a plasma leak nearly blew the engine. Eli cursed as sparks flew, wrench slipping from his hand. Rava, without hesitation, dove under the panel and sealed the line with a thermal patch in seconds. Eli stared. "You know ship mechanics." "I was a commander. I know everything on a battlefield. Including ships." He smiled. "Then you've just been promoted from prisoner to co-pilot." Something flickered in her chest. Not freedom. Not yet. But something close. Chapter 3. Buried Scars. As the days turned into weeks, Eli and Rava fell into rhythm. She helped fix stabilizers. He taught her how to cook Terran food, though she declared peanut butter an abomination. She shared tales of her lost planet, of the fall of Zenthra, and how betrayal from within led to her capture. One evening, Eli found her standing on the observation deck, staring into the void. "Do you ever think about going back?" he asked. "My home is dust," she replied. "And I am no longer who I was." He stepped beside her. "Maybe you don't need to be who you were. Maybe you can be something new." She turned to him, brow furrowed. "A warrior becomes nothing without war." "No," Eli said softly. "You were never just a warrior. You're intelligent, skilled, fierce. You're more than what they turned you into." She looked away, voice quiet. "Why do you care, Earthling?" "Because I've seen what the galaxy does to people who've lost everything. And I don't want that to happen to you." For the first time since her capture, her shoulders relaxed. And a spark of trust was born. Chapter 4. The Bounty. Peace doesn't last long in space. It came with a knock on their hull, a boarding party. Bounty hunters. 3 of them, armored, well-armed, and with a contract for Rava's capture, dead or alive. Eli tried to talk, to reason. They shot him in the leg. The scream he made, raw, agonized, ignited something in Rava. The years of rage, the humiliation, the silence, it all exploded in that moment. She tore through the bounty hunters like a storm of vengeance. Plasma blades spun from her hands, forged from the very tools Eli had given her. In minutes, all 3 hunters were on the floor, either unconscious or dead. Rava limped to Eli's side, breath heavy. "You're hurt." He grimaced through blooded teeth. "Nothing a med patch won't fix." She lifted him effortlessly and carried him to the med bay. As she treated his wound, her hands shook. "You risked your life," she whispered. "I told you," he winced. "You're not a prisoner. You're a friend." Tears welled in her eyes, but they didn't fall. Not yet. Chapter 5. Her Destiny. Weeks later, they landed on Alaris 7, a peaceful trade moon with a University of Galactic Sciences. Eli had heard rumors that a refugee outreach program there might accept former warriors seeking purpose. Rava, now clad in newly forged armor of her own making, not for battle, but as a symbol of her rebirth, stepped off the ship and breathed in clean air without the stink of war. They met with the head of the program, a pale-skinned Jirelian named Roche. "She was an elite tactician," Eli explained. "She's got skills that can save lives instead of end them." Rava stepped forward. "I want to teach. I want to stop others from becoming what I was." Roche nodded, impressed. "We have cadets who could learn much from you." It was the first time Rava felt wanted, not as a weapon, but as a person. As they walked back to the ship, she turned to Eli. "You gave me more than freedom." He grinned. "What, peanut butter changed your heart?" She laughed, a true, unforced laugh. "You saw me as more than a tool. And because of that, I found something better than vengeance." "What's that?" "Hope." Chapter 6. A New Fire. Years later, stories spread of a Zenthran warrior who trained peacekeepers and diplomats across the quadrant. Her students called her the Iron Phoenix, a symbol of destruction reborn into something greater. Few knew her full past. Fewer still knew the Earthling mechanic who once bought a warrior Amazon, not to own her, but to save her. But aboard the old ship Rustbucket, which still flew now and then for the fun of it, sat 2 souls who understood one truth. That destiny isn't something written in blood or chains. Sometimes, it begins with a choice. And sometimes, all it takes is one good person to forever change another's fate.